So in this video, I'm going to show you how I did this render with ink and paint. This is something I did for my presentation last semester, inspired by this. So I'm going to teach you guys how I did that using ink and paint, and even one more type of render if I have the time. So I've already built these models, and I'm going to set up the renderer. For ink and paint, you need to select Scaline Render. It's pretty easy. I'm going to set the materials first. I have already one set there, so I'm going to go and select ink and paint from the material editor. And all you have to change is the color. You can change to any color that you like. The previous one I showed was in gray, but this one I'll just use some different colors to make it more playful. I'm just going to go choose this lilac color and then make it 50 and paint levels to 50 as well. And you can see the shade there has blue because the shaded color, the shaded color down there is already blue. If you want, you can change that too. And for variable width of lines, you can go for maximum, minimum width of the lines. So I'm just gonna set it to random number and see how it turns out. And even the inequality. So that's about it. So you can assign different colors to different objects. I just assigned 3, and I'm just going to copy the material to the other slot and change to a different color. Also, I have changed the lighted to 50. Assign these materials, and you can set the output file size to any size that you like, and you can go and save file if you want from here. And then you have to change the environment if you want a different colored background like this. I did the render, and you can see the lines are a bit thick, so I'm just going to go and adjust the minimum width to a bit lower number and re-render and see how it looks like. So you can see I only changed the color of the line weight of the matte, so that's the only thing that's been changing. And I'm going to decrease it a bit more, and you can see now the blue matte doesn't have any line at all, like it's barely there. Also, I'm going to lower the paint level and see if that has any effect to it. So now the line is completely gone because my minimum width line is 0.1. So you can play around with this ink and paint to create some artistic renders. And the more edges you have on the object, the more lines it will create. Like the first render that I showed that I did last sem, it has a lot of detail, so the lines are more visible on it compared to these teapots here. But I'm just changing the line weight of the matte here, so you can see now it's really thick. And if you don't want variable width, you can just uncheck that, and then it will just have the single line. Like sometimes if you want to show thinner lines or thicker lines, you can play with the variable width. And if you want to add a map to these objects, you can go and add anything from the list. I'm just going to add weave. So when you render it, you have that as well. So you can play around with this. It's really fun. And some people make really cool renders with ink and paint. Now I'm just going to show you guys how you can do a V-Ray rendering, a simple one. So I'm adding a V-Ray light. And then I'm just going to make it invisible in the rendering so that you won't see the light, the outline of the light. And I just reduced the multiplier so the luminance will be low. And then I'm going to reset my materials to V-Ray because now I have changed my renderer to V-Ray. Here I'm going to show you guys how I add a bitmap to the teapot, a floral one that I downloaded from Google, like this one. So you can go to V-Ray bitmap, and choose the map, and then you can assign it to the teapot. And you can see the handle doesn't look so good. So what you can do is you can go to UVW map. Also the teapot, if you wanted the texture to be a bit bigger or smaller, you can go and choose these options. Spherical. I think I'm just going to go with the box, it looks good. Spherical is nice as well. And you can reduce the length, width, and play around with it. You can even change the tile, flip it, increase the tiles. As you can see, the handle is a bit stretched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this object to edit poly first, so I can detach the handle and the top. So I can add a different UVW map to it and adjust the mapping. So I'm just detaching it, the two parts from the teapot. Make it a new object. And then I'm going to add a different UVW map to it so the image would, so I can adjust the image separately. So you can do this for furniture when you have like small rods or something, which is easier to adjust. And I adjusted the color of the background, and this is the rendering that I did. Looks pretty cute. So that's about it. A quick V-Ray and ink and paint rendering.